played Point and Doom was fun. It's just I did this movie called Rebel Run, where I played a biker that was basically second coming of. It was almost like the second coming of this Indian spirit that he came and saves this Indian reservation and stuff like that.
Interesting.
That was fun. But I kind of, it's just weird how the movies that I've done kind of parallel some of my, with painting and how I prepare and how I get so involved with my paintings and how they affect my whole life during the whole process of like 1 week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks, where my whole demeanor and everything else changes because they put so much into them, and it takes a lot out of me because it's almost like it's almost like an out of body experience for 2 weeks or 3 weeks in a lot of ways, and when you come down from it and it's finally done and you realize it's done, and then the paintings name themselves. I've never named.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. How do you come up with the names? Because I mean, some of the paintings that you sent that I've seen, and then a couple that we've looked at together. I mean, how do you come up with the names? I mean,
I'll look at a piece, and and then something will come in my head, or like for example, I got that one on the edge of Sanity Bluff, which I started looking into this painting, and it was. To me, and the way I was looking at it was sanity. It was on the edge of being insane, but having that wherewithal or that foresight to not go totally over the edge. So that's what I was thinking at the end there. So on the edge of Sanity Bluff, as far as verbiage, just came to me that way. Blue Jean Red, for example. I did that painting, and I cut up a bunch of blue jeans and different things and stuff like that through the past, and put it underneath the paint. So there's no blue in the actual painting. It's red, white,
it's the material.
Stuff like that.
Okay, yeah.
So to call it Blue Jean Red, kind of to me, and to the size like the red and the whites and the little yellows and stuff like that, and what's going on with America now, and certain things about, kind of losing what America was about. You know what I mean? And blue jeans were, kind of antithesis America back in the 50s and 40s and stuff like that. So,
yeah, no, that's really cool. I want to make a really quick announcement. If you've tuned in late and you haven't heard the beginning of the show will be available afterwards on demand on Red Velvet Media, Blog Talk Radio, and on iTunes. And our chat room is really full, so I want to thank everyone for tuning in the chat room. And if anyone has any more questions, please feel free to type them in to the chat room. And for the callers that are on hold, we have a couple calls on hold. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try to finish this up and then just hang in there. A lot of times people will call just to listen, too.
Right.
But I want to ask you, with your painting and where you use, just like what you talked about with the blue jean and then also the other one with the clothing, how did that come about to you to put part of somebody or something into a painting and then co-create it? How did that happen? How did you come up with that whole theory of doing that? I don't know very many painters that put.
I don't know any painter who's never done it. There's not.
Nobody has.
Nobody has.
No,
I've never heard of it or seen it or. It came about one day. It was about. I think it was about a year and a half ago. I was painting outside, and I was using white and gray, and it was kind of like I forget what I was feeling or what was going on, but I remember a stick fell on the canvas, and I didn't want to touch it, so I just painted over it, and then I remember looking at it. No, and then I looked at it and I said, huh. So what I did was I grabbed a bunch more things and sticks and coins and cigarette butts and this and that, and just started putting it underneath the paint, and just to kind of push the envelope of what paint can do and how you can push paint to the limit, and then that's how that kind of got started with that. And not all my paintings I do that with, but there's a good number that I do that with.
Yeah,
so,
that's really cool.
And then
so cool.
the metaphor of doing it now, where I can use it in a way where it kind of brings more to the piece, as far as like an individual or somebody who lost somebody, or if it's a war veteran, or you lost your mom, or you know, something like that, where you can put something underneath that paint that's hers or his or what have you, and kind of memorialize it that way, instead of just doing a regular mural.
Have you been asked, besides the one woman that wrote you the letter in your inbox, have you been commissioned? I'm sure some of your pieces are part of a lot of really great people, well, a lot of people's collections. I mean, you know, have you been asked to do a specific thing for somebody besides that one piece that you did?
Oh, yeah, I did. Yeah. I did one for a woman, and this girl's mom was had cancer, and they couldn't, the piece they wanted was too expensive, and so we started talking, and I said, well, what about your life, and what do you see in that painting that represents what you see and what you feel? And they told me and stuff like that, so I said, well, why don't we do something else? And then they wanted me to do a painting about them. So what I did, I talked to them for about a day, for 4 hours and another time, and actually did this painting called Finding Hope. So I've done that quite a bit with people. I would talk to them about different things and stuff like that, if they like something, and like this other woman she was depressed, and she liked this one painting she thought was depressing. I said, well, actually, the reverse of that is not. It's how you look at it and when you look at it and how you're feeling when you do look at it. Because I can do a depressing painting with yellows and pinks and reds and blues and all these bright colors. Yet I said, she goes, well, I lost my husband and this and that, and I said, well, why don't we make it about, I know how you're feeling now, but why don't you put the darkness like underneath? Because you're not an unhappy person. You're just going through an unhappy time. I said, why don't we make it in a way where things do get better and things do resolve themselves and it takes time to heal. And why don't we do a thing where the painting is not just black and red and just angry, and why don't we just make it a piece that's about who you really are? And then we'll talk to them, then it'd be a total different thing than what they saw or what they thought of. And then when the painting was finished, they would just a lot of them break down and cry, and they would, they would just say, how did you know? How did you know that was? And I just took the perspective of what you told me, and then got to know you, and then when I did it, I just felt that was the way to go. And honestly, I don't know if you did part of it either. You might have through channeling or whatever. So
I think when you paint, I mean, some of the things that I've seen that you've painted, and just in talking with you, you pretty much are tuned into a lot of things that people of the norm aren't. We're coming into 2012, guys, and, this is like our big wake-up call. There's not like, bad stuff we're thinking that's going to happen, but, you need to listen to your inner voices and into messages and stuff. And I know that that's probably part of what you do, because I know that you do hold certain gifts that are really amazing, and you're sharing them with the world. So with your painting, and also, I want to talk about your music really quick, and then we'll go back to your painting. The music, the song we opened up with, Borrowed Time, that's on your latest CD that dropped, which is Waiting for the Sky.
Waiting for the Sky to Fall. Yeah, Waiting for the Sky to Fall.
And you are currently working on something else right now. What is that?
Well, there's always, music has always been a big part of my life anyways. We have probably 30 or 40 songs that we've been working on another album. And I was going to go under a band name, Wasteland Park, and I was going to do this, so I don't know what it's going to be called yet, but they're all ready to go. We just got to go in and master and stuff like that, and yet a lot of them I like the way they sound just in the demo part of them because the rawness of it. And I think that's just, growing up and liking more of the raw purity of music today. I think a lot of us lost that today if you listen to the radio because it's all done through computers and this and that and stuff.
Yeah, it's overproduced.
Way overproduced.
Yeah.
So to do it in a way where I can do this next album where it's not overproduced, which we're not going to do, and it's just raw and just, right through, it's basically speaking right to your soul. I mean, I think that's the way to go, so that's what we've been doing.
That's awesome. And, we have a piece to play at the end of the show, so guys, make sure you stay tuned into the show, and we'll be playing that song at the very end, and it has a very cool ending name, As Time Goes By, which I think is, Richard, you and I spoke about that, and you said you think that that's kind of like where you're going, especially with the new year coming up. That's such a great song.
Yeah, as you put it in that reference, yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
I didn't think of that.
Yeah.
Right. As time goes by.
No. And then I was playing around, and I was listening to your music, and I fell in love with one track only. I fell in love with all the tracks, but this one track really resonated with me just because of the work I do with children and because everybody knows I'm a child at heart and I love kids. You did this one song called The Innocence of a Child, which I am going to play for our listeners in a moment, but tell us about that song and how that was created and what feeling went into that.
This song was created from a poem I wrote. And us, as we get older, we lose that innocence of a child. The innocence of a child is such a beautiful thing. And the thing is, when we were children, we didn't worry about tomorrow or the day after. We were just worried about, okay, I'm going to go out and play now. Okay, bye, Mom. Bye, Dad. Just the little things. And back then, everything was really important. Nothing was trivial. As we get older, I think things turn a little trivial. And so the innocence of a child, holds a place for you and me. I mean, basically, speaking out to everybody, it still holds a place for everybody. And to find that innocence again of what it is like to think and feel like a child does, where you, like, if you meet someone on the street now, you wouldn't go shake their hand. You wouldn't even say hi, most people, in this day and age. Because you're always thinking of the subtext or what do they want, what do they need, who are they, what's going to happen. But back then with kids, and unfortunately in this day and age, kids got to be a lot more careful. But to have the innocence now as human beings in general, whether you're a kid of 4 years old or you're a kid of 89 years old, just to keep that innocence about you and that wherewithal that, we're here for a reason. And the things that we do, affect a lot of people. And to keep the innocence and the purity of a lot of things that we've lost because of whatever circumstances we're going through now, as far as humanity and stuff, is just to keep that sensibility that that every moment, every minute, every precious second, just take that in, because you can't ever get those back. And I think we lose that because we're thinking about this tomorrow, that tomorrow, this next week. And all of a sudden, if you think about next week all the time, well, today was never here. And next week never. It's like here now, kind of like, right? Yeah. Next week never comes, because when next week comes, it's already here. So where the hell did next week go? It never came.
Just like living in the moment. Yeah,
exactly.
I totally get that. We're going to play that song, and we're going to be back. And again, if you, this is Richard Grieco and Red Velvet Media. And if you missed the beginning of the show again, I want to thank everyone in the chat room. And again, it will be available on iTunes and on demand immediately after the show on Red Velvet Media Blog Talk Radio. So if you missed any of it, you can catch it from the beginning. But Richard, I'm going to play your song real quick, and then we're going to come back and we're going to talk a little bit more about your art and stuff, and how how people can get in touch with you, and also about this project that you just recently were